I want to put something together that can help you if you are feeling low on confidence. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think confidence is, how it might be manifesting, sort of how it affects us. And then I'm going to talk about one of the ways which I've found in my life to really help me with my own confidence. All right, so first of all, what is confidence? How does it look? You know, think about somebody that you know that displays really good confidence, or you see them and you think that they're really confident. It's important to make a distinction here that we're not talking about the loudest person in the room or the person that shows off the most, right? Confidence is something that we have inside of us, and it is, I think, a feeling or a knowledge, you know, a true understanding that you can't affect me, right? So the judgment of others cannot affect my self-worth and my value. And that's really, like, I think that's not a bad way to look at it. Like, when we think about confidence and in basketball practice or in any kind of athletic competition or something like this, like, we want to be confident. We want to go out and perform to the best of our abilities, but often we say that it's confidence, our lack of confidence, that doesn't allow us to do that. But that, I think, is it's missing the understanding that confidence doesn't come from the outside. It doesn't come from the judgment of others or other people saying that we are good. All right, so if you look at basketball players, you know, I've had conversations before with players who say, you know, I want to drive to the basket, I want to make the play, I want to put myself in the position where I'm going to be the person that makes something happen, but then I find that when I get to that moment, I can't do it. And so what is that? I think for the most part, it's usually your worry and fear and concern about what other people are going to think about you if you get it wrong, right? So if you get the ball and you decide to drive to the basket and you decide to take the layup and you miss, what are your teammates going to think about that? You know, what is your coach going to think about that? What are the people on the sidelines going to think about that? Is anybody going to be filming you and put it on social media? It's all about external other people and what they think of us, their value judgment on us. And so if we internalize that, if we use that as a measurement of our self-worth and our value to our basketball team or our family or our social circle, then that's a very fragile place to be. It's very precarious, you know, because you can have bad games. One of the things that we've got to understand as basketball players and athletes when we're out in competition, that you're going to have bad days. Like, you cannot have good days without the bad, right? You cannot have more difficult training sessions without the easier ones where you find yourself in flow. Like, there cannot be one without the other. And oftentimes your motivation for working harder or doing an extra session or, you know, getting up early in the morning or, you know, doing something extra is those times when things don't go so well. So when you have a game and you don't perform as you might want to, there is a lot of pain there, and in the immediate after time of the game, like a time where you might feel, I'm just so disappointed and frustrated in myself. I didn't do what I wanted to do. But very soon will come motivation to work harder and put in the extra work to make an improvement. So often not doing so well is fuel for the fire of your desire, your drive, your motivation to then go out and do the work necessary to make improvements and have success. But if we allow other people to determine how confident we are, then we're always going to be at the mercy of other people, when actually confidence comes from inside of you. So if you can understand that the decision to drive the ball to the basket or shoot the shot or pick up the player that is the best player on the other team and try to defend them, the decision to do that is one that you take because that's the decision to make. That's the decision that you make in the spirit of trying to win the game and play the game that you love. It is not for some external gratification, right? So if you're just playing for other people to look at you and say that you're really good, then you're playing for some kind of external reward that you think you're going to get when you're successful. But I think that there are some problems with that, right? Because if that's your motivation for working hard, for training in the gym, and ultimately for your participation in whatever sport that you play, you're always going to be chasing that, and you're never ever going to be able to satisfy that hunger. Because as soon as you've won one thing, you're going to need to win another thing, because the thing that you tried to win is gone now. And the external reward being your motivating factor is always going to be, there's always going to be another one to go get. So having other people be the source of your confidence is a broken model, and it's not going to work. So confidence comes from within. And if you can access that, then you can realize that right now, if you're a person that's saying, I'm not confident, you can know that the confidence you need, it doesn't have to come from outside. It can come from within you. And that confidence you can access at any moment. So the question becomes, like, maybe you have got yourself into a situation where you just don't know how to access it, because you've got a little bit confused about where your confidence comes from. And so you've been, placing it in these outside sources, and then becoming more and more worried and fearful that the sources of confidence that you require are harder and harder to get. Okay, so the more that you put yourself in situations where if you mess up and you're worried about what other people think, the more times you think that's going to happen, and the more times you don't do that thing, the harder and harder it gets to do it next time. All right, so let's go from the understanding that confidence comes from within us. So how do we access it? What might you need to do if you're somebody who is low in confidence right now, or you're not able to access it readily, like you can't find it anywhere? Like, you want to know, my confidence is inside me, so where is it, right? So here's what you can do. Here's a practice which I think is a wonderful, quite difficult thing to do, but the more that you can do it, it becomes habitual, it becomes a skill that you learn, and it's something which you can apply in all kinds of situations. And I was thinking about this a couple of days ago, and it's really the reason I wanted to make the video. It's like, think about a situation or something that is coming up that you don't really want to do, right? So it might be talk to your coach about your playing time, or whatever it is that you need to do to play more, or make adjustments from the last game. It might be talk to your parents about something which is important in the house, or something which has already happened. It might be talking to friends or teachers, or even dealing with things with your teammates. Or it might be acting in the game, right? Or playing a high level opponent. Like, things that you don't really want to do because they're difficult, and you're worried that there is some problem is going to arise, that is going to be some kind of negative outcome of this situation. Those situations tend to be the ones that you need to put yourself in voluntarily, because we're always going to get into situations that are difficult, and in difficult situations is when we require our confidence, so that we can continue to move forwards even though we're a little bit afraid. So a saying that I like, which I learned a long time ago, I have no idea where it came from, but it's that the coward and the hero feel the same emotions, right? So the coward is scared, but so is the hero. They just act differently. And it's confidence, I think, which allows the hero to act in a different way to the coward, right? So these difficult situations that we are all going to face, whether that's on the basketball court or outside in our regular lives, we're always going to face difficult situations. So if you can find some kind of difficult situations or challenging situations that you can voluntarily put yourself in on a consistent basis, you are going to learn the skill of being confident, of accessing your confidence in moments that are challenging, difficult, and we don't know what the outcome is going to be. So a couple of examples from my life are, like, I've been taking cold showers pretty much every day for a couple of years now. I also live near the sea, and as the weather gets colder, going into the sea is like, it's really cold, right? So, it's something which, before I do it, I really don't want to do it. Like, there are days when it's windy and it's cold outside, and I might go in the morning when it's dark now because it's winter, and it's not an experience, like, as we lead up to it, that I really, really want to do. Like the night before, when I'm thinking about, right, tomorrow I'm going to go and I'm going to go swim in the sea for 10 minutes because I know that that's a wonderful experience, which can, physically, it's a great thing to do. It's really good for your physical body, but also it's a mental exercise. This is an exercise I use for my own confidence, because I know that the situation of going into the cold water where I don't really want to, my brain says to me, you don't want to be in here. This is hard, it's difficult, you need to get out of here. But to go into that situation voluntarily, you can override that voice in your head that says, no, I don't do this today, we'll do it tomorrow. And then as you go into the situation, yes, some of the things that you are afraid of and concerned about and worried about are there, especially right in the beginning. So if you think about a difficult situation that you might be facing in your life, whether that's, talking to your coach about something, or playing against a really hard opponent, or speaking to a teacher or your parents about some kind of difficult thing, like, we don't often really want to do that. Or putting in the work, getting up early to go to training when it's dark and cold, like, we don't want to do these things. But if we do actually do them, you find that the thing that you were kind of worried about and afraid of in the beginning is there in the beginning. Like, waking up in the morning is difficult. It's not easy. It's dark. It's cold. You've been asleep for a long time. You're groggy. You don't really want to wake up. But if you can do it, if you can take that step and get out of the bed and get to the bathroom and wash some water on your face, you start to find that you can get going. And then that kind of leaves, that feeling of whatever that is leaves. And then you are on your way, right? And actually there's a lot of momentum to be gained by moving into those experiences. Come back to the example of the cold water. What happens to me when I go to the sea is I often, when I get there, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do this. It's cold. Oh man, this is like, but I in the back of my mind, because I've done it a few times now, I just know that every single time I do it, without exception, it was always the right idea. It was always the right thing to do. Because although it's difficult in the beginning, when you get past that, there is a great, like, there's a release of energy. There is, physically in your chemistry, there is a physiological release of hormones when you achieve something, when you do something difficult, and mentally you are reminding yourself that you can do difficult things. Okay, so now if you're really lacking in confidence, to do something challenging voluntarily is going to sound really scary. So the question is, can you bring that back? Can you make the challenge reasonably low? Can you find something in your daily life which is a challenge for you, but not so much of a challenge that you're really scared, right? So I don't know, it might be talking to your coach and just saying, Coach, I'm struggling with my confidence. I don't think I'm helping the team, but I know that I can. I know that I can, and I want to improve my confidence. What can I do to help the team more, right? And for a lot of you, that might be something which is really hard to do because you don't know how he's going to react. Maybe he's going to shrug you off. Maybe he's going to say, I don't know. Maybe he's going to ask you another question. But the act of doing that is going to say something about who you are. And also, you might get some information about being a player which can help you. Now, you might not, but without making the step, you're never going to know. So it's the building of these kind of skills, and I'm saying, like, see if you can find challenging situations, difficult situations where you're probably not going to be so comfortable, and move towards them. Do them voluntarily. right? If you really want to take a cold shower, like, and that, to be honest, man, one of the things I think is, it's one of the practices which I really recommend, because everybody can do it, and it is difficult, and it replicates that process of, there's something I want to challenge myself. And as you arrive to it, I don't really want to do this, but I go to it anyway, and I breathe through it, and I experience it, and I understand that I can do it, and at the end I feel amazing, right? And that is the process of building strength, of building confidence, all right? So if you want to do that, you can always start when you take your hot shower. It's just the last 30 seconds, you just turn that thing down and take your last 30 seconds as a cold shower, breathe through it, and then you will find that you will be able to, and then as you go, you can obviously make that time longer, and then you can get rid of the hot water if that's something you want to do. But it doesn't have to be that, right? Like I said, there are many different examples, and you as an individual will have your own. Okay, another one that I recently experienced was I needed to speak to my parents about something which I knew would make them upset. I thought would make them upset, but it was something that was really, really important to me. And so I knew that I had to say something about it, but I was holding back because I just didn't want to hurt them. But what I found when I did go through the challenge, the situation itself, that there was immediate pain, there was the thing that I was kind of worried about in the beginning, but then when we got through that bit, there was a lot of like connection, there was a lot of understanding, and there was conversation and things that came up which I didn't really even know about. So I find that with these kind of situations, yes, there is some challenge in the beginning, but the thing that you are afraid of and worried about is not really, even if it's there, it's not as bad as you think it is. Okay, so those are my thoughts on for anybody that is not really feeling confident right now, or you're struggling with it and you don't know how to, improve it. Understand first of all that it's within you. You are a confident person. There is no question about that. I don't care who you are. The confidence is within you. It is not in the outside. Okay, so how do you access that? See if you can find some small challenges in your day that you're not so comfortable to do. It might be something to do with eating particular foods, or not eating those foods, that you tend to like. It might be about getting up a little bit earlier than normal. It might be talking to a particular person. It might be a cold shower, something like that. And go to it, right? Go to the experience and then see what happens. Because once you get into those experiences, if you can build more and more of them and do them more consistently, you are developing the skill of accessing your confidence. And that will translate to your performance in the games. All right, I hope that helps. If you need any more information, or if you want to ask questions, reach out to me on social media. My Instagram handle is certified.basketball.coach, and my TikTok is robnewson84. All right, I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope it helps.